I'm Leah Lawrence.
And I'm her husband, Mitch Lawrence.
And you are listening to the Southern Spirits Podcast, where I regale my husband with Southern stories of the macabre, the creepy, and the strange.
And I drink.
So what are you drinking tonight, Mitchell?
Our beer tonight is a local favorite, Peace, Love, and Hippieweizen wheat beer, brewed and canned by Goat Island Brewing LLC in Cullman, Alabama. 5.5% alcohol by volume. Let's read the can. You ready? Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. This hazy golden wheat beer is far out. We ferment with a German Hefeweizen yeast, which provides a smooth, groovy flavor with hints of fresh bread and the faint aroma of banana. Bring on the summer of I love this beer. Sock it to me. And there's an exclamation point at the end of that. I'm not understanding what that's supposed to be, but anyway. About the beer. It's very bready. There's no hint or faint aroma of anything. The banana is really prominent to me.
I don't taste the banana at all.
Yeah, it's there though. And if you like a really bready beer, like it's almost sweet, you know, if you like that, you'll like this beer because it is definitely high quality. It's not my kind of beer. Leah hates it.
Yeah,
so.
Not for me. It tastes like drinking liquefied bread, and I just don't care for liquid bread of any sort at all. Like, just...
Yeah.
Ew.
Like, if you're really into chicken and dumplings, you'll probably enjoy this.
Yeah, it's a thing for me that, like, I cannot handle moist bread. It just really freaks me out. It's a problem every year at Thanksgiving. Like, my entire family loves dressing, and I just can't because it's wet bread. And
I'm one of those people.
Yeah. We have a disgustment over it every year, and I can't handle it. So
Leah has a strong wet bread aversion.
I do, very much so. It's like part of my sensory processing problem, I think. But
it's the texture,
yeah,
right?
it
it's
is
not really
the texture, but that flavor reminds me of that texture to a degree that it makes my skin kind of go So if I'm at Goat Island, preferably I'm having a blood orange, which is by far the best beer that they make that I've had. So
yeah, we've had that beer on the show.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. It's so good.
It's absolutely fantastic. I know a lot of people actually really love this Hefe, so it's not, I'm sure it's a fantastic beer for people that are really into that particular type. Yeah. But I'm not one of those people because wet bread is gross.
Yeah, so along those same lines, I'm not into this kind of beer either, but I can tell it's very well made. Like, I can drink it. Yeah. It's pretty good, even though I don't really like it that much, if that makes sense. I give it an 8 out of 10. It is, you can tell that it's high quality. And if you're into wet bread, this is for you. There's no texture in the beer, though. I need to make that clear.
There's not. It's very smooth. It's exactly what you think that a beer's going to taste like. It's just wet bready, and I don't care for it. Yeah. I like a little bit more citrus or bitter or something to differentiate it from that yeasty flavor. But
yeah, I get it. But excuse me,
beer fan.
I'm already burping. Let's go into some breaking news. I went to the package store.
Huzzah!
Got us 3 bottles of vodka and 1 whiskey. So this week we're having a vodka. It's a Yella Hound Spirits Premium Vodka, and that is Yella. It's not yellow, Leah. It's Yella Hound, because this is from Calera, Alabama, from YH Spirits. 40% alcohol by volume. Let's read the bottle. Step up your mixology skills by pouring this crisp, craft-styled vodka. Handmade from corn and pure spring water, create inspired craft cocktails or build perfect vodka-centric classics. Go small batch vodka and don't ever look back. Again, another exclamation point. That's the only reason I got excited.
Okay.
So, what I have to say about the vodka is it is extremely sweet. Like, it's off-putting how sweet the vodka by itself is. Yeah. I had Leah just try it. Just give it a little sippy sip. And it's like, it's fucking pure sugar.
It's really not as prominent as you think it is. Just like you're a little bit more sensitive to sugar than I am because I'm a coffee creamer fiend. But I guess. Yeah, it is a much sweeter vodka than normal.
Otherwise, it's really smooth. But the sweetness is off-putting for me. Yeah. It's interesting. I give it a 6 out of 10 on ice because there's nothing wrong with it. It's just crazy sweet. And I went with one of the vodka-centric classics it recommends. Leah had the idea that I make a Bloody Mary because I didn't have anything else to put in it. And so I made that with spicy vegetable juice, lemon juice, pepper, Old Bay seasoning, a shitload of Old Bay seasoning, and Worcestershire sauce, and Frank's Red Hot, because we don't have any Tabasco. Yeah. I love Tabasco in a Bloody Mary. but we don't have any. We have giant bottles of Frank's Red Hot we got from Costco. So that's what's in here. And it's really good. 8 out of 10. The weird thing is that the sweetness actually penetrates all of that shit I put into it. So it's a really sweet Bloody Mary. I still really like it, though, because I just love Bloody Marys. So did I say 8 out of 10 on that?
You said, did you?
I don't know.
thought you said
8 out of
6
10.
out of 10.
That was on ice.
Or
Bloody
7
Mary,
out of 10? I don't know.
Bloody Mary got an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
So 7 out of 10 overall. And wouldn't you know it, Leah? The alcohols are done.
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk it?
Oh, and speaking of, I'm not drinking today because
yeah.
I'm on antibiotics again because my body hates me. So
Leah is always fucking sick, y'all.
yeah,
That's
but like it's just weird because like I was on antibiotics and you were on antibiotics and I was on antibiotics. It's a problem.
I wasn't on antibiotics. I was on fungal cream.
Oh yeah, well, true. Anyway, gross. Yeah, so that's exciting. So I won't be partaking in the alcohols today, which is disappointing. But you know what? I think you can take one for the team, Mitchell.
Yeah, and also I want to go ahead and report because we are recording for YouTube.
Yeah.
And Leah said that she would post something about it last week, and she never did. So if any of you were looking for the YouTube video, Leah, would you like to tell what happened, or would you want me to just say it?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay, go ahead.
So
it was recorded. That's the important part.
We recorded the video like we do every week, and I go in there. Well, we attempt, and I go in there and I get the footage off the camera card, and it's taking way longer to download it into my computer than normal. My computer is really fast. We built it specifically for video editing, and so like it shouldn't have taken as long as it did. I was like, what the actual fuck? And so I waited and I waited and I waited and finally got onto the computer, and I use DaVinci to do all of our videos because it's free. So I pull it into DaVinci Resolve, and it's in slow motion. And I'm like, what the actual fuck? What did I do wrong? What settings? Okay. And then I go into the actual raw footage file from the camera. Son of a bitch, if I didn't record the entire hour and a half that we recorded in slow motion, because that's a feature of our camera. It has slow motion options. Yeah. And I fucking did the entire video all hour and a half in slow motion. So it's just an hour and a half of me and Mitch going really slow.
I was going to say it was like 90 minutes. Yeah. And that file had to have been fucking-gantic.
It was.
To be in slow-mo for 90 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. It usually takes me maybe 5 or 6 minutes to get all of our footage onto that computer. It took 38 minutes. So that was great, and so I wasted all of that time. I wasted all of the footage, and
yes, it was audio only last week.
So I gave up. I legitimately went.
Also known as Southern Spirits Classic, when it's audio only.
Yeah. So sorry about that. I don't know. I mean, just based off the views that we get on YouTube, I don't know that many people were really like just tragically upset that it wasn't there. But
no, nobody said a word.
No, but we do apologize that it wasn't there because it was my fault, because slow-mo Leah is slow-mo. So.
Yeah. I mean, that's just a giant file. Like, I have accidentally deleted an entire audio section of an episode, and then we had to re-record it. Yeah. I've done that. I think that's happened twice.
Yeah. That sucks really hard.
That sucks because, like, I'll just accidentally X out of the window, and it'll pop up and say, do you want to save your changes? And I'm like, what is this? Because I'm all drunk and shit, and we just lose it. And I just click, yes, just go away. And, of course, there goes the file. Yeah. I have never recorded us in slow-mo.
Well, that's not an option in Audacity.
So. We should have an episode that's like 9 hours long, but it's really just 30 minutes, and we're just in slow-mo the whole time. We should do that. I like that idea.
Shot in the dark.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
No? Okay. Well, I guess we won't then. So how about we go directly into the sassy Southern saying of the evening?
Yes, please.
All right. Well, this week it's quick, it's easy, it's short, it's snappy. The word of the day, because it is just a word and not an entire phrase. Oh. It's a word. The word is skedaddle.
Skedaddle? That's a Southern one?
Yeah. Well, it's prominently used the most down here. I think people from all over probably use it. And we can get into the etymology of it because it's really fun. But, the word skedaddle.
Yeah. It just means let's leave. Let's get out of here.
Leave immediately and with purpose.
Oh, well.
Yeah. So when you're skedaddling, you're not like just getting out of there slowly and ploddingly. Like, I don't ever leave a social... well, that's not true. With the people that I actually like, I don't leave social situations skedaddling. It's more of a southern goodbye where you get in the driveway and you talk another 30 minutes, and then you get in the car and talk another 30 minutes with the window rolled down, you know. Yeah. Skedaddling is not that. Skedaddling is like, we got to get out of here. Like,
if y'all ever listened to Trailer Trashy, you'd know that, like, I don't know, 95 to 98% of the episode had no content in it. Like, period. And it was just, that's how they say goodbye. That's standing on the porch. Like, we could just put microphones out there, and that would have been Trailer Trashy. It's just them standing on the fucking porch. Like, okay, well, I got to go. Oh, well, did you hear about what's-her-face and her new penis fungus? That's what that's everything that happens all the time.
Yeah.
Like, we were at, we were with Amber and Aaliyah last night, and we said, okay, we're leaving. I counted 4 different times. And on the 5th one, they said we have to go. Okay.
Yeah, because they legitimately had a place to be, and I'm sure they showed up late. But you know what? It happens. Oh. But yeah, so skedaddling is definitely not that. Skedaddling is immediately leaving. You've got to go. You're leaving with a purpose. So the first use of the word skedaddle in writing was from 1859, when it's meaning, you know, that. And the etymologists believe that it's sort of an alteration of a British dialect word, scaddle, which is just to run off in fright, being scared, scattling away. And it was from the Middle English word scathel, and that means harmful, and it's akin to an old Norse word called skathi, which means harm. So basically, it's from the same root word as the word scathe. So skedaddle basically means running away from harm, getting yourself out of a weird situation. Like,
unscathed.
Yeah, fucking off.
Get it. I was going to say, where have I heard... Because I don't think I've ever heard, like, scathed, you know? It was just unscathed. Kind of like that George Carlin joke where he talks about you can be overwhelmed and underwhelmed. Has anyone ever just been whelmed?
I'm pretty sure that's actually from 10 Things I Hate About You.
No, that was George Carlin long before that. Or maybe I'm thinking of a different word that's the same. Yeah, it's probably 10 Things I Hate About You.
I'm pretty sure that's just 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yeah, there's a George Carlin one.
Because George Carlin does tons of like wordplay jokes, which is why I love George Carlin. But I don't think that's one of his. It might be.
No. It's something. It's another one that's exactly the same. Yeah. Where it's like the word is only used in conjunction with other words.
Anyway, so yeah, that's the sassy Southern saying of the evening. Work it into your week sometime. Let's skedaddle. You know.
I'm gonna have to look. This is really bothering me. This George Carlin thing. I'm gonna watch all these YouTube videos
later.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, just hold the tab for later.
Go ahead.
All right. So, are you ready to get into the first story of the evening?
Yes, ma'am.
Yay. So, this first story is going to be a little bit shorter because the second story is much longer. So, we're going to do something quick and easy for the first one. We're going to West Point, Mississippi, and we're going to be talking about a big-ass haunted house. It is the Waverly Mansion. Right. So,
like Witches of Waverly Place?
No. That was not in Mississippi, I don't think. No.
It was on Disney Channel.
So, sure, but not the same thing. Anyway, Waverly Mansion was built and completed in 1852 by Colonel George Hampton Young. Oh. And it's a really big, beautiful mansion. It's super fancy. What you'll mostly notice about it when you see photos of it, it's got like an octagonal shaped cupola on the 4th floor. Cupola. And it's like the way it's built is very pronounced. It's the feature. It's the architectural feature of it. It has these self-supporting sort of rounded staircases that are very fancy and pretty, and nowadays they've refinished the interior to be super fucking fancy. It's filled with antiques and just it's absolutely stunning. So it's like I said, it's a big, beautiful house now. It was not always so. It was built that way, of course. And it was, a very large part of the local community. It was a self-sustaining plantation at the time. And of course, that plantation was built on the back of slave labor. I mean, just like any of the other plantations in the area, they had a lot of slaves.
I'm going to have to stop you there. It was built on the backs of heritage, and you should know that.
Let's not get into that.
You're
anyway,
better than that, Leah.
So the plantation, like I said, was very large. It had tons of gardens and orchards and livestock. It had a brick kiln, so all of the bricks for the outbuildings and stuff were built or made there on site. They had a cotton gin. They had an ice house, which was very unusual for the area.
Yeah, I was going to say that's
so they would bring in blocks of ice from up north, and
futuristic.
this ice house is a big pit in the ground basically where they would bring these massive blocks of ice and stick them down in the earth so they wouldn't melt, and they'd cover them in straw, and then you could chip the pieces of the ice off and actually use ice in the house. In drinks and stuff. Yeah. So that's, like I said, a very luxurious thing to have at the time. They had a swimming pool, they had a bathhouse, and the entirety of this house was lit, sort of wired for gas, or plumbed for gas. I don't know how you gas light things, but all of the chandeliers had gas.
Was it natural gas?
Yeah, so they actually...
So it's pipes in the ground, yeah.
So they actually even made the gas on site as well. They burnt pine knots and created their own fuel for all of the lights.
I love pine nuts in a Caesar salad.
Pine knots, not nuts.
Just saying.
Different thing entirely.
Made me think of it.
It has its own lumber mill, a leather tannery. They even manufactured hats and sold them pretty widely. It was a big thing. They made saddle blankets, and like I said, it was a big deal for a long time. And even after the Civil War was over and emancipation happened, they ended up hiring back a lot of formerly enslaved people and then brought on, sharecroppers and stuff like that to continue operations there. So it was a big deal for a long time in the area. And it, was pretty prominent for a long time, but then after the death of the last surviving son of the guy that built it, it kind of just fell vacant for about 50 years. And the weather down there is not great. You get, hurricanes and weather and tornadoes and all that shit. So the weather wasn't great to it. The vandals were even worse to it. So the mansion 50 years down the line didn't look great. Well. The foundation was still fine. All of the mirrors and the mantelpieces and a lot of the wood and stuff were still good, but a lot of issues were there with the house specifically.
I can't believe the heritage didn't keep it up.
The heritage isn't going to keep it up. I'm sorry, bro.
Man.
And during this entire time, even when it was still a prominent a plantation area, there were lots and lots and lots of rumors about this mansion being haunted. And one of the owners of the building, one of the women that actually purchased it, and they did the whole restoration process on the house, she claims that there is one particular ghost that is very prominent and that is seen most often, and it's a ghost child. And you know how I feel about ghost children. No thanks.
No thanks.
The ghost child is a 3-year-old that was actually the daughter of a neighboring plantation owner. So shot in the dark.
Okay, you want to guess the weapon?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. First, I do want to say that I know how you feel about ghost children, and I just want to say that I don't know if I've said it before, but I'm fairly scared of live children. So the idea of ghost children is just much worse.
Live children aren't my favorite, but I prefer them live. Thank you very much.
Yeah, as opposed to ghosts. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do a weapon here. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's see. 3, 2, 1. What happened?
Was it a trebuchet?
I was going to say I'll accept one of two answers, and they're not exactly the same thing, but it is a catapult.
Okay.
But it's not a trebuchet, but it's the same thing. You know what I mean?
I mean, that sounded more like a trebuchet than a catapult because of the scraping noise.
This app was free.
Okay.
And I'm just saying. So, anyway,
Fun.
but yeah, you got it right. So, let me find my good stuff here. Good work.
Yay. All right, so shot in the dark. According to the folklore, how did the little girl ghost die?
Okay. Oh,
Was
God.
it A, a drowning, B, a broken neck, or C, the measles?
I like the idea of it being the measles. I'm going to say measles.
You're incorrect.
Damn it. I wanted it to be like a vaccine conversation.
It was not. She died of a broken neck. Sorry.
Let me see what this one is. Hold on. There's another fail here. It says super.
You're not heroic. You're not invincible.
What the fuck is
You're
this?
not even invisible. You're your own weakness.
I've never heard this before.
Super fail.
What was
I hated
the end
that.
there?
What the fuck,
at
Mitchell?
the end?
Don't press buttons you don't know what are. Fucking shit, dude.
That was my first fungus orgasm.
Ugh. I hate that very much. Anyway.
Jesus Christ. Okay, let me take the
Gross.
shot.
Gross. Anyway, so anyway, it's believed that the little girl and her parents were visiting. They were a neighboring plantation-owning family, and they were there visiting at the Waverly. And the child was playing around on the second story, and she ended up getting her head trapped between the spindles of the stairs on the second floor.
Jesus.
And she, ended up fucking around and broke her neck. How she did that, I don't know. I do not know.
No.
No.
That sounded really fun. That sounded like you were about to start a sing-along.
No, that's stuttering. It's not near as fun as you think it is.
This vodka
Yeah.
was that was like a fucking cobbler. That was so sweet.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
But yeah, so the kid broke its neck, sticking its head between the spindles of the stairs, which every kid has wanted to do or tried to do at some point in time.
God. I don't think I ever tried that.
Yeah, I tried at my Aunt Deborah's house when they used to live in a different house than the one that you've been
haunting
to.
their house.
I could have been, but I didn't.
Missed
so.
opportunity.
My head was too big.
You do have a giant fucking melon.
Yeah, I do have a big head, so it didn't work out for me. But, hey, maybe it kept me from a broken neck, so there you go.
Fingers crossed.
But anyway, they do say that the ghost child appears there on the staircase, but most often you will hear its voice crying out, "Mama, mama, mama," which is very uncomfortable for me because it just seems really not okay.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I don't like it at all. And a lot of visitors to the property have reported seeing and or hearing that child. And then they also report so she was 3, but 3-year-olds in the 1850s also wore fancy outfits. So she's reportedly wearing a white high-necked gown, and she's got dark blonde hair, and she just sort of is crying. And apparently she also sleeps. It's either her or another one of the little girls that was in the household at the time. But they say that a child shaped rumple appears on the bed it's the indentation of a sleeping child, but there's no child there, so it's just like an indentation of a child on a bed on the second or in one of the upstairs bedrooms. It'll just be sort of all of a sudden it'll just sort of indent like someone's laying on it, but there's not, and that just no thanks. Please don't get into my bed, small ghost child. No thank you. But they say that the ghost daughter is, like I said, the ghost girl is the daughter of that neighboring plantation owner. And they do believe that she's actually buried in the Young Cemetery, which is located about a block from Waverly Mansion. And that cemetery is still there. And like I said, they've done a little bit of restoration work on that because it was highly vandalized. Just over the years, lots of stones were moved and toppled and spray painted over. But from what I've seen pictures online, they've done a lot to put it back together as well as possible and, sort of cleaned it back up again. But like I said, it is there. A lot of people also say that they see apparitions of a Confederate soldier that appears in the mirrors of in like the drawing room in the front. So a guest will be standing there and looking into the mirrors and looking at all the beautiful grandeur of the parlor, and all of a sudden they'll see like a Confederate soldier standing behind them in the mirror, and they're like, "Oh, that's creepy," and you turn around and they're not there, which is freaky. Don't like it. And also they say that piano music can be heard all over the house near the parlor, because the parlor was used for parties and dancing and stuff like that when it was in its heyday. And a lot of people say that you can still hear sort of like dinner party kind of noises coming out of that area. And it's just, I don't know, super creepy. I don't like it.
Better than a kid yelling for his mother, though.
It is most definitely better than a kid, doing that. No, thank you. But yeah, lots of paranormal investigators have been through there. They've done all the EVPs and that kind of thing. And it's just a creepy little place. It is reported to be one of the most haunted places in Mississippi. I can't verify that because what's the scale, you know? But yeah, it was abandoned for a while. I think 1913 was the last year that it was occupied until 1962. And in 1962, I believe the Snow family purchased it and started renovations. But like I said, they were warned by many, many people not to fucking buy that house because it's haunted as shit. It like I said, it was kind of a spooky situation. But I do believe it is open for guests. It is still a private residence, but I think they do have like open house days where they will allow you to tour the, you know, historical portions of the home and that kind of thing. And it's like I said, really beautiful. But like I said, there's that whole legacy of slavery situation that makes the entire thing just an extra layer of uncomfortable and something that, you know, how do you reckon with that kind of history? You know, it's
a lot of people are still having trouble with it, Leah.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of them.
And so that's, like I said, it is a beautiful home. It has lots of history, but one of the most prominent things about that house, historically speaking, was that Nathan Bedford Forrest, while he was injured in the Civil War, stayed there for a few weeks because he was great friends with the people that owned the place. So if that tells you anything about, you know, the
tells me those people are all about heritage.
All right. And for those of you out there who don't know who Nathan Bedford Forrest is, he created the KKK. So,
he was instrumental in it.
He was instrumental
he was the first leader of the KKK.
Yeah, he was kind of the head dude in charge when it first started up. He might not have been the one that started it, but
and he is the namesake to the funniest statue you have ever fucking seen.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. But if you're ever in Nashville. God. Look up the Nathan Bedford Forrest statue. It's fucking hilarious.
Like the horse looks so much better than he does that he's riding on the statue.
And the horse looks derpy as shit.
Yeah, and it is like meme face. You know that meme face?
Yeah.
It's like that's on the statue.
Yeah,
it's so goddamn funny.
It's real bad.
And people are like, of course that's what he looked like.
It's like, I'll tear down any other Confederate monument. Like, I don't care. But that one, man. Mm-hmm. Oh, that one's fucking funny.
Like, put them all in a museum that you have to pay to get into. But like that one, leave up for everybody to look at.
Yeah.
100%. Be like, that's the guy that created the KKK? That makes sense. He looks inbred. Yeah.
Bless it.
That's him.
But yeah, we've talked about that statue before, but it is in Nashville. It's bright gold, and it is... Yeah. Bless its heart. That's all you can say about that. Anyway.
It's like one of those things that y'all remember... when people have tried to, what is the word? Not recreate, but like restore. When they tried to restore the famous paintings.
Yeah, when lay people try to restore, you know,
and they
historical
just end up drawing
art.
like a smiley face on it. That's what the statue. It looks like there was a statue there before, and it had worn away.
And they tried to like put model magic on it and just sort of spray painted it gold.
Somebody went, I'll fix it. They realized they chipped off too much and just like put clay on it and put a smiley on it. That's what it looks like.
It's really bad.
It's so fun.
Anyway.
But none of that happened. That is the original statue.
They meant it to look that way.
That was on purpose.
Anyway, so most of that information is taken from exploresouthernhistory.com, Wikipedia, and medium.com. So yeah, those are the haints of the Waverly. Yeah, that was our first story, our first quick little ghost story.
Well, it was enjoyable. I guess that means it's time to take a break, to give the camera a break and put it into slow-mo mode.
We're not going to slow-mo on this one, I promise. Well, I don't promise, but I hope.
Yeah. Don't make it a thing. Leah, I looked up the statue picture. I just want you to look at it.
Stop showing me that.
Does the camera see it at all?
No, it doesn't. Your computer's too far off. You've got his gun.
Anyway, y'all can Google it. Just Google Nathan Bedford Forrest statue. It'll come up.
It's heinous, and I enjoy the fact that it's heinous. Anyway, we'll see you shortly.
Okay. And we are back. You got the video going over there?
Y'all, sir.
Yeah, you do. Well, I drank a lot during the break. So, you said the second story is long?
Yeah, the second story is long. I'm so glad you're drunk for it.
I'm not drunk.
Yeah.
I drank a lot.
And what's more disturbing, though, is this is like a serial killer situation. So,
well, I mean, people like serial killers. Yeah. Like, it's not a bad thing.
No.
To enjoy serial killers.
Jesus. So we are doing one that I've talked about previously in Tailgate Tales.
Oh.
So back when we were doing that, we did one from the University of Arkansas about a potential suspect in this particular case. That was the story. So if you want to sift back through the archives for that one, you're more than welcome to.
Can I guess which university it is? Wait, you said Arkansas
said
already.
It.
Never mind. You said.
I mean, you can guess, but
good thing, because I was gonna say Tennessee or Florida. Good fucking thing I remembered you said Arkansas.
So no, we're going to be talking about the Texarkana Moonlight Murders.
Yep.
And so this is that. And like I said, there are lots of violent murders and sexual assaults. So if that is something that triggers you, don't listen to the rest of this. It will be upsetting for you.
It triggers me, but not in the way you think it triggers me.
Okay, well, you have to stay. You've agreed to doing this show with me, but anybody else out there that's listening,
I'm not saying. I said not in the traditional sense of the word triggering.
Okay, well, like I said,
I'm excited for it.
All right. Well, if anybody out there really does have issues with that, please don't listen to it. We'll see you next week.
It's a morbid curiosity.
Yeah.
You know.
So, but if anybody else is still around listening, wants to hear it, this is the story of the Texarkana Moonlight Murders.
All right.
So if you don't know what the story really is, so it's a really famous sort of unsolved serial murder spree that happened in 1946 in Texarkana. So Texarkana is a town on the border of Texas and Arkansas.
Weird.
Hence Texarkana. So there is a Texarkana, Texas, and a Texarkana, Arkansas.
Kind of like a St. Louis. Or not St. Louis, I'm sorry, Kansas City. Fucking shit. What?
Are you okay?
Fucking moron. Yeah, like a Kansas City.
St. Louis is definitely just in Missouri. Anyway.
Okay, Kansas City, which is on the border of Kansas and Missouri, is in two spots. There's Kansas City in each place.
Yeah.
And generally the one people are talking about is in Missouri.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so Texarkana. That's what we're talking about.
Okay, I'm sorry. I won't talk again. I know it's a long story. Go.
Yeah, thank you. We got to get through it. Okay. And this is that story. So on February 22nd of 1947, the first murder in this whole situation happened. There was a 24-year-old man named Jimmy Hollis. He and his 19-year-old girlfriend, whose name is Mary Janine. I'm not sure how you say that.
How old was he? His girlfriend was 19?
He was 24.
Okay.
She was 19.
I mean, that's fine, but like...
Oh, the ages of these couples get very upsetting later, so just be aware.
Here we go.
Just as a heads up, it's going to be sucky. So anyway, so her name is Mary Jean, maybe LeRae. I don't know how you say her middle name. I'm sorry, but anyway, they
how's it spelled? What's the problem?
Jeanne.
Yeah.
Jeanne.
Jeanne. That's Jean.
But it looks like Jeanne. Anyway, whatever.
Well, there's a lady in my office whose name is Janine, and it's that plus N-E. Janenne-E.
That's
Janine.
just, it's like banana in my head, and I can't stop saying the N-A part. Banana. This is Janine.
I promise to stop talking. Go.
Thank you. Okay. Mary and Jimmy. Okay. So they were on a date, and they headed out to a rather secluded spot on Richmond Road. There in Texarkana. They were, about to have a little bit of a makeout session, if you know what I mean. It was about 11:45 at night, and they were just they had gone on a double date earlier in the evening to the movies with Jimmy's brother, but they dropped them off and they, took a little bit of time to be alone with each other. And the couple had just started, pawing at each other.
Making out.
Heavy
petting.
Yeah. When all of a sudden, a dark pigure.
Oh my God.
A dark figure
imagine
appeared.
that. Just like
That
the
was hard.
shadow of a pig on the wall appears.
No figures here, just a figure.
We have found the episode title. I was struggling, but Dark Pigure has taken it.
A dark figure peered through the
It
window.
was nose to nose, and then a long shot came in.
That is not what happened.
Dark Pigure has succeeded.
Jesus. No, a dark figure appears in the window, and he apparently has a white cloth hood covering his face, and it's like a pillowcase, and he's got holes cut out of the eyes and mouth, and he has a pistol in his hand, and he says, "Get out of the car now."
Says oink oink, motherfucker.
Mother Porker, Mitchell.
Leah,
So
on.
much easier.
Come on.
If you're going to make jokes, make good ones.
I don't think you know what a good joke is when you say Mother Porker.
Anyway.
Besides, other people are wrong.
So anyway, he says, "Get out of the car right now." And they obviously are fucking terrified because this creepy dude in a pillowcase with a gun is threatening them. So yeah, they get out. Mary told the attacker, "Hey, dude, you can have all of our money. You can have all of our valuables. Just don't hurt us, please. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, just take our shit. We don't want any trouble. You can have all of our cash." And the attacker shined a flashlight in their eyes just so that they couldn't really identify him at all. They were just trying to blind him. And he just said, "Do what I say. I'm not going to hurt you." So shot in the dark.
Oh, it's time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I had one lined up. Yes. Wait. I lost it, Leah. Hold on. God damn it. Sometimes the screen slides on its own, and
How about you make a weapon noise?
You don't want that.
I'll guess what it is.
Okay, here's one. Ready? I don't
Yes.
know what this one sounds like. I haven't heard this one
Okay.
yet. So here we go. Ready? Before you say something, I want to say that is not what I recorded the first time I was peeing with my dick fungus. That is
Gross.
not what that was. But
It
it's very
sounded like
similar.
someone shaking up a bottle and it like spraying everywhere.
No, I'm not going to play it again because it's very long.
No.
It is something pressurized, if that helps.
Okay.
I mean, this is shit, y'all. This new app. It has a lot of sounds, but they are not good.
Just tell me what it is. I don't know.
You sure?
Yeah.
It's tear gas, according to the thing that I just pressed.
All right. I mean, whatever. Fine. I don't like it, but fine.
I think we should just go back to the fucking shotgun.
Yeah.
This is
most
not
definitely.
going well.
Yeah. Shot in the dark. At this point, the Phantom demanded Jimmy do something very odd. What was it? Did he ask him to A, take his pants off, B, take Mary's blouse off, or C, take the Phantom's pants off?
Oh, man. Oh, Leah, you have made things very interesting here. Oh, man. Oh, I did not see C coming.
Yeah.
I didn't. But that's what I'm going with. He took the Phantom's pants off.
You're incorrect.
Shit.
Take a shot.
I was going to anyway.
Yeah,
You
you
weren't
were,
doing it.
but I mean, like, now you've earned it.
Let me get the fail. Let me see here. This one says fail comic guy.
Most awesomest fail ever.
What does that mean?
I don't
What's
know. I
comic
don't like
guy
it.
mean? Okay, well, let's just...
It's just a dude with a lisp. That's not funny.
Yeah, what does that mean? Fail comic guy.
I don't like it. Anyway, he in fact ordered Jimmy to take his pants off. And he was like, that's fucking weird. But Mary was like, this guy has a gun. Take your fucking pants off, Jimmy. And so he took his pants off.
It's a way to control the situation.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And
Oh, God.
obviously the attacker did not follow through with the if you do what I say, I'm not going to hurt you situation.
No.
Because as soon as he goes to take his pants off, he beats him in the back of the head with his pistol, and like he crumples in like just a heap on the ground. And so Mary realizes, oh shit, this guy's crazy. He's already like bashed my boyfriend's head in. I gotta
bad.
like get out of here. So she absolutely just bolts for her life. She's trying to get out of there as quickly as possible. But it did not work. He caught her, and he did assault her with the barrel of his gun. Thankfully, it did not get any worse than it could have gotten because a car came along and the headlights of the car scared the perpetrator off. And so eventually he hit her in the face, across the face several times with the butt of the gun, kind of fucked her face up pretty bad, and then he ran off. And after, Mary comes to, she summoned the people that were, had the lights that had shown up. She got them to help, and they rushed him to the hospital. Mary had a lot of bruises and contusions and stuff to her face, but Jimmy was really, really bad. And the blows to his skull, like, fractured the base of his skull, but he did in fact survive the incident. So they both made it through the attack. Obviously traumatized as shit, but they made it through. Because the rest of the people that this guy attacks don't make it through, most of them. So the couple tells the police everything that happened, how it happened, and their stories were all of the same except for one thing. Neither of them could give correct information about the dude. So they both said he was about 6 feet tall, but Jimmy said it was a white man, and Mary thought it was a black man, and they just couldn't decide who got the better look at him. You know what I mean? Because he had, something obstructing his face, and like I said, they didn't have much to go on other than he was a 6 foot tall dude, and he might have been black or he might have been white. We just don't know. So like I said, it didn't narrow down their suspect very much. So authorities said that they believed Jimmy's description, thought it was probably a white guy, because, that's, I guess, just believe the dude. I don't know.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, they thought that he might have gotten a better look at him than Mary did.
You know the old adage. Believe the dude.
I suppose.
When in doubt, believe the dude.
All right. But anyway, so they go on to investigate this, but they don't really find any good suspects. They just think that it's sort of just a random violent happenstance, that it's just sort of a transient person, that it's not going to happen again. It was just a kind of one-of horrific situation, but it just, everybody sort of moved on pretty quickly. Nobody died. So, they were just like, okay, it was a one of maybe a hobo passing kind of incident, but it's not a problem. We're all okay. Turns out they were not all okay, because on March the 24th of 1946, there was someone driving along the Bowie County Highway 67, and he spotted a vehicle that was parked in kind of a weird place along the road. And the area had a lot of really, really bad like flooding and flash flooding over the last few weeks. And he thought that the car might have just been stuck in the mud and needed help. So he sort of pulls over, trying to, maybe help whoever was, stuck in the mud. But when they get out, he realizes that nobody alive is in the vehicle. The vehicle has the body of a male and a female, both just covered in blood. So he's obviously upset with this. And he immediately goes to the police and says, hey, you might want to go check this out. So eventually they discover that it is the body of Richard Griffin and Polly Ann Moore. So Richard Griffin was a 29-year-old war veteran. He was behind the dashboard of the vehicle. The female was Polly Ann Moore. She was 17 years old. Dating a 29-year-old man. I don't like it. I don't fucking like it. Anyway.
It was a different time, but it wasn't that long ago. And we should be upset about this.
I'm sorry. And I'm trying not to, have a problem with the victims here, but, that's just creepy.
We were talking 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago now, I'm sorry, with Aaliyah and Amber.
Yeah.
About people dating people that much younger than them. And how I'm almost 34. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Not sure how old I am.
Yeah.
I'm almost 34. And I have zero desire to be around college-age kids, much less high school-age children.
Correct. I mean, it can work in some situations, but not when they're still a fucking teenager, guys.
We're just so different now. I still enjoy, drinking too much, more than I should, but
not at that level.
no, I can't drink like that anymore. And just knowing the level of, we're fucking old farts now. We're the people who were these fucking kids suck now.
Yeah,
their music is terrible.
Yeah.
TikTok is the bane of my existence.
Yeah,
it's not you know what I mean. Most of the things on TikTok, and it's we are the fucking old people now. It's these people are stupid, and they're gonna rule the country soon.
Yeah.
What the hell is going? I'm voting Republican real soon.
Please stop, because if you do, we're gonna have a problem.
No, I have no plans of it happening soon, but 20 years down the road, we'll see what happens. We'll see what these kids are planning.
I can handle you getting old, no problem. Getting crotchety, sure, but we might have a fight if you start becoming more conservative in your old age. I just don't see that working out for us.
That's one of my favorite memes I've seen over the past couple of years. Is all our parents and grandparents always told us, well, as you get older, you'll become more conservative, and we all just became socialists.
Yeah.
It's no, we see what's wrong with capitalism, and it's no regulation, and you're the reason there's no regulation.
But to be fair, my dad was a socialist in the first place. So.
Yeah, your dad's a fucking hippie, and always has been. He is the throwback hippie who's still how can I make all the money, and how do people make money, but also, let everybody else have some money.
Yeah.
Your dad is the original fucking hippie.
See, but he's not old enough to be a legit hippie, a generational hippie, but
No.
he had a Republican phase during the Ronald Reagan era where he tried, but
Everybody
it just
Reagan,
didn't
though.
work out.
People still love Reagan.
Yeah, I don't get it. He seems
I don't either.
Anyway,
that's where all the problems started.
Yeah.
But, beside the point.
Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, where were we?
Oh no, the
people
about
that were
17-year-olds
drastically too young for anyway.
Very soon, I'm going to be these children don't need to be making decisions about their own bodies. I'm going to be that person real soon. Do you realize how close I am to that?
Please don't. Please don't be that guy.
I honestly, I was making a joke.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be that guy. But
Thank you.
I'm just saying there is some dumb fucking shit in the generation right below mine. And I sound like everyone else who's the generation after me is going to destroy the world.
But that's the thing. I just know so many people in my own generation that are so fucking dumb that I'm just maybe it's us.
Let me put it this way.
Maybe it's us. I don't know.
Let me put it this way. Okay, this is the best I can make it. when I was playing baseball as a child, right, I felt like the people that I played with and against were very good. And then I started coaching and I was like, look at all these terrible fucking people, both that I'm coaching and that we're playing against. And I talked to my mother a few years ago about it. And I was like, I'm coaching now and I feel like, I mean, I could just be wrong, but because I was in the moment, but I feel like we were so much better than everyone else. Like me and the people I was with and the people that I normally played against, because like we went to tournaments and you always face the same people, you know. And she verified, she was like, no, y'all were fucking good and everybody else sucked. So that's kind of how I feel about it. Like we're in this little bubble where like we feel like we're definitely smarter than these people right behind us, right? Leah, there's some real fucking stupid 20-year-olds on TikTok. Have you seen them?
Yeah, but there are also some very intelligent, really well-spoken, amazing 20-year-olds
a couple
on
of
TikTok
them,
too.
Absolutely.
Look, but have you seen our fucking generation? That's all I'm saying. There are some people that are raising children right now that I know that just should not
That's
be.
That's the thing with our generation especially that I'm noticing. All the people who I know personally who should not have children have children.
Yeah.
But there are a couple that I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. You should have kids. You're going to be a good parent. 95% or so of them. I'm
Most
like,
of the
what
people
the
that I
fuck
know
are you
personally
doing?
are really great parents, but some of the shit that I see from their acquaintances are like, okay.
Yeah, I hate all of them.
Just anybody can have kids now.
It's not that I hate them. It's just that, like, there is no way that my generation should be raising children. And there are a few people that I'm like, yeah, you should be in charge of something. And then the generation directly behind us, I'm like, your music sucks. Everything about you sucks. Cut it out. Don't ever have children.
You're just a crotchety old man.
That's
at
what
this
I'm saying.
point.
I'm there.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you're listening to this and you're going, you're a piece of shit, give it 5-10 years.
Yeah, you're going to be the same person.
You're going to be that person
Look,
about the kids that are in high school right now.
Yeah, I'm not as bad as you are because I legitimately do think that a lot of the Gen Zers are pretty cool and chill, but their music is bad. But
God.
I didn't like my own generation's music either. So
I
there
agree.
You go.
There's most of the music in my generation I didn't like, but I also didn't like a lot of the music that came before that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm very picky when it comes to music, but at the same time, like, fuck you and your music. It's awful.
You're the worst. Can you hush? We're at like almost an hour in, and I'm still not done through the second.
Let's go. Young people suck. Go.
Okay. So that was the most ridiculous tangent. I apologize. But yeah. So these two people, their age differences aside, are dead in their car. And they've both been shot with a 32 caliber .32. I don't know how guns work. I'm sorry, guys.
You're doing
32
great.
Caliber revolver, I believe. Anyway.
Yeah, that is a caliber.
Thanks.
You did great.
And they didn't really report it to the newspapers at the time, but Polly Ann was, in fact, sexually assaulted by whoever shot them. It's believed that she was. The FBI files on the case didn't really confirm that fact because her body was already embalmed before they completed their total investigation. So that kind of ruined any kind of physical evidence that there might have been of that situation. But it is believed that she was assaulted in that way. But the bodies of the victims were found in the car, but they were placed there. They did not die in the car because there were clear drag marks and blood stains located nearby. But unfortunately, because of all of the crazy rain that had happened in the area at the time, basically almost none of the other clues survived. No fingerprints, nothing like that. It had all been washed away by the rain. So they determined that Polly and Richard had started dating about 6 weeks previous to them getting murdered. And
Jesus.
Even though everybody thought the age difference was a little weird, no one in their family seemed to be concerned by it. Nobody thought it was like that fucking weird, which, okay, whatever. But
I think it's pretty weird.
I think it's weird too, but whatever. But
if you give it 10 years, it's not that weird.
Yeah.
But doing it right then, that's a
I was
problem.
going to say, once she's out of her teens, fine. Do whatever you feel, but like that age is weird. It's just weird to me, but whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the last people to have seen them alive, the last person to see them alive was Richard's sister, Eleanor, and she had dinner with them on March the 23rd, and she saw them leaving a cafe about 10 o'clock that night, and that was the last time anybody saw them alive. And they questioned 50 people. Nobody fucking knew anything. Nobody had any kind of evidence or ideas or nothing. Everybody thought it was just an out of the blue, what the fuck kind of situation. And they even offered a $500 reward to sort of get any kind of information, see if anybody knew anything. And it was just nothing. They found no connections whatsoever. And they didn't really officially make any kind of connection between the murders of Jimmy and Mary and this couple until much later. But they, because it had happened in the same area, it was both couples, both found on the road, the citizens of Texarkana start kind of connecting it in their own minds, and everybody starts kind of being upset about it, which obviously you would be. And there was a debate among the people that lived there. Some people thought it was connected. Some people thought, oh, it's just two random things. But they kind of got confirmation a little bit later on that this was definitely someone with an MO doing this in the area. And so on April the 14th of 1946, it was Palm Sunday that year. Mr. Weaver, G.H. Weaver, and his family were driving along North Park Road, and they saw someone lying on the shoulder of the road, and the dude was covered in blood. And so they were like, oh, that's not great. And so
That doesn't sound like the MO.
Yeah.
Leave him on the side of the road?
No, it doesn't. And we're getting there.
Oh. Fucking... My bad.
Yeah. So the Weaver family call the police immediately, tell them what's going on, and they eventually identify the body as 17-year-old Paul Martin. And he was previously a resident of Texarkana, but he was living in Kilgore, Texas at the time. And he was just visiting with his parents that weekend. Just visiting relatives and stuff in the area. And he had been shot 4 times, once in the neck, once in the shoulder, once in the hand, and once in the face. And the investigation discovered that he hadn't been alone the previous night. The day before, he had a friend. She was 15 years old, Betty Jo Booker, and he had picked her up from a dance because she was playing the saxophone for the band that was playing the dance, the Rhythmaires, which is fun.
That's a great name.
Yeah, it's great. But she was playing saxophone in the band at the local dance, and he picked her up from that dance. They weren't romantically involved as far as anybody could tell. They were just friends and she needed a ride. So witnesses said they left the party around 2 a.m., but Betty Jo hadn't made it home. And everybody was searching for Betty Jo let's see. Yeah, everybody had just started looking for her. And also they, realized that Paul wasn't there, and eventually they put 2 and 2 together. Police figured out who the body was. Yeah. And so once they identified Paul, they became very upset and very worried about Betty Jo because, once again, she didn't make it home the night before. So a manhunt, like a body search, I guess, they looked for Betty everywhere. They were looking trees, forests, woods, lakes, etc. But eventually they found her in the woods, and she was fully clothed, laying on her back with her right hand in her coat pocket, and she was dead.
Her right hand in her pocket?
Yep. She was 2 miles away from where Paul was found dead, and she died from 2 gunshot wounds after a pretty violent struggle from what the body looked like. One shot was to the face, 1 shot was to the chest, and the reports say that the bullet hit her heart, and that's kind of what killed her. And there was also evidence that, the body had been assaulted as well. And once again, they didn't put that in the press because that's not something that they put in the press in the 40s.
Yeah. I mean...
Yeah.
They still don't really put a lot of that in the press until at least after the investigation.
Yeah, after the
done.
investigation's over, because that's sort of details that you keep.
Because in the fucked up society we live in, people like to take credit for shit.
Yeah.
And so they just spout off whatever they read in the paper.
Yeah.
And so they keep those things.
And some of that's about to happen later on in the story.
Yay!
Anyway, so Paul Martin's car was finally traced because, usually there was a car involved in the rest of them. And they did, in fact, find the car. It was a 1946 Ford Club Coupe. And they found it abandoned with the keys still inside at the entrance of Spring Lake Park. And that was about 1.5 miles from where Paul's body was found. And they recovered prints from the scene, including from the steering wheel, and the prints didn't match the victim. So eventually, they thought it would have to have been the person that, killed him. And they found more .32 caliber casings around the scene, which was also kept from the press because, once again, those are, details that you don't.
You shouldn't know that. Yeah. What's the caliber of gun you used to kill the person?
Eventually, they linked the double murders, and then they linked it again with the Mary and Jimmy situation from before. So eventually, everybody realizes, hey, we've got a crazy-ass motherfucker on our hands. And he's going around killing couples for some weird-ass reason. And so they, like I said, end up putting like a Texas Ranger on the case.
Yeah.
Was
it Walker?
No, it was the Texas Ranger, the Lone Wolf is what they called him, but his name was Manuel Gonzalez. There's a lot of U's in that. I don't know.
Leah, Jesus.
Gonzallas. Gonzalez. There's a U. It looks like Gonzalez, but they put a U in it. I don't know. But anyway, so he gets put on the case, and so this is a pretty big deal in Texas. So they eventually, like I said, nobody really knows what to call this guy. So the Texarkana Gazette ends up giving him the name The Phantom, and that's what everybody starts calling him throughout this entire pandemonium situation. Once people realize that it's the same dude going out and killing people, people are starting to be freaked out. They used to be
they realize it's one person.
They used to be like a small, tight-knit community. Everybody left their doors unlocked. Everybody let their kids play outside and have a great time. And nobody, it was just an idyllic little town. And it stopped being that pretty immediately.
What's scarier in that situation? Is it one person doing all the things or a bunch of random attacks? What is scarier for you? I would think the random thing.
Oh, probably the random, but still, you don't want either.
No, you don't want either, but I'm saying...
You don't want either.
You're not, you're not making anything better by saying, it's just one person, you know, but you're also making people go, okay, well, it's one guy. I think they're going to find him eventually, because things start to add up, right?
If
it's a bunch of random shit,
that's the problem.
Well, Leah, spoilers, but I'm just saying, the random thing to me is scarier.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it's also one of those things where you don't know it could be any of your neighbors, and people start getting suspicious of each other, you know? And the fact that they call him the Phantom doesn't help anything, because that's like a real spooky kind of name, and people are, getting real cagey about the situation. So law enforcement starts bulking up patrols on any of the little secluded spots and lovers lanes, and any of the place where people know that teens hang out, couples hang out, any place that people go parking.
That's the thing. You say teens.
Yeah, but
half of it is teens, and the other half is people in their 30s.
Yeah. Anyway, so they're looking out for couples parking and all of that stuff. They're trying to catch this guy. And they end up taking in 300 possible suspects to question. And
300?
300.
What?
And one by one, they just get let go because they were bringing in everybody at that point. And unfortunately, they were not the last people to get murdered, because on the evening of May the 3rd of 1946, 36-year-old Virgil Starks and his wife, Katie...
12-year-old Katie?
No, she was 35.
Oh, yay! Fucking shit.
A reasonable pairing.
Celebrate people being together who should be.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, 36-year-old Virgil and his wife Katie were at their house, which is a little bit of a strange departure from what we've seen previously. But he sat down. He was reading a newspaper, listening to a show on the radio. His wife was upstairs. She was in her nightgown, reading a magazine upstairs, just chilling, having a nice night. When all of a sudden, Katie hears sort of gunshots downstairs and a shattering window pane, and she's like, "That's weird." She thought that he had dropped and shattered a glass. You know what I mean? Like she didn't.
But she
place
didn't put together the
sound.
gunshots.
Yeah,
Okay.
she didn't place the sound. She didn't understand what was going on. She came downstairs to figure out what was going on, what had broken, and she sees her husband slouched over in his chair covered in blood. And she's like, holy fuck, this is not okay. So she goes to the phone, she starts calling the police, but she picks up the receiver and starts to call the police, but the intruder is at the window and he shoots her in the face. So the first bullet goes through her cheek and exits behind her left ear.
Leah,
and
why do we need these details?
I'm just telling you. And the second bullet,
Just say it.
just say it. The second bullet hits her in the face again. It goes through her jaw, knocks out several of her teeth, and ends up underneath her tongue.
Oh, good fucking God,
Yeah.
Leah.
Yeah, she gets shot in the face twice. And
Like in succession?
yeah,
Because that's some two
Yeah.
quick fucking shots.
like a 1-2. And she
Also, we just don't need those details.
I'm sorry.
Leah.
That's just, it's a known thing. I
Yeah,
gotta
I mean,
tell
I
you.
get it, but
Yeah.
do I need to know that?
Yes, you do. Let's move on. And so she was still alive after getting shot in the face twice. And so she still needs to get help. So she drops to the floor.
She was still alive?
She was still
with
alive.
a bullet rattling around in her mouth?
Yeah. Sort of
Fucking
embedded
what?
in the flesh under her tongue.
Ugh.
Wasn't rattling around. But yeah,
Fucking
she's
shit.
bleeding profusely from her face.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I didn't realize she was still alive.
Yeah, she was still alive, and she ends up dragging herself out the front door and across the street to her sister's house, leaving just this massive trail of blood behind her. But her sister wasn't home, so that's not great. But thankfully, one of her...
It's not funny.
not funny.
But I'm at that
Yeah.
level where her sister wasn't home. So anyway, and that made me laugh.
Yeah.
And I apologize to everyone that offended, but
Yeah. Her sister
I'm
wasn't
there.
home, but her sister's neighbor was, and the
God
neighbor
damn,
helped
Leah.
her call the police, and they immediately rushed her to the hospital.
Ugh.
And she did end up surviving the attack, but the husband didn't. The husband was dead. Pretty
Yeah,
much
fucking
immediately.
obviously.
Yeah.
Jesus
So
Christ, if I have a bullet in my mouth, I'm probably dead too.
Yeah. But the police showed up to the farmhouse. They did a bunch of investigations. The assailant was gone, but he did leave muddy footprints. He left some bloody handprints and stuff. And they found a flashlight that belonged to the killer near the window. And like I said, lots of fingerprints and bloody palm prints. So they thought, hey, this might be something that we can use to catch the killer. Turns out, spoiler alert, they didn't. But, they brought in bloodhounds to sort of trace the scent of the guy. He gets traced for about 200 yards running along the highway, but then...
It's a highway.
The trail goes dark, or goes unscented, I suppose, because that's where they assume he left his car, and he got in his car and left.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Katie didn't see the guy at all, so she can't help identify the guy at all because, it was just a shadow that, shot her in the face. So she wasn't much help with that. And like I said, they didn't know if it was connected to the Texarkana of the Phantom Killer because this MO was so different from everything else.
Yeah.
He had initially been attacking people in cars, younger people. It didn't seem to match, but a lot of other people thought that it was probably connected because he was sort of frustrated that he couldn't kill anybody in these local lovers lanes because police were everywhere, that he just sort of went where police wasn't patrolling and shot more people.
Yeah.
But the caliber of the gun was different as well. It came out of a .22 semi-automatic shotgun and not the .32 caliber revolver that the other murders had taken place that had used. So there's a lot of debate debate.
There is a lot of debate.
There's a lot of debate in the true crime community as to whether this is actually related to the earlier phantom killing attacks or not.
Well, I was going to say the MO is actually really fucking different.
Yeah, but it is an escalation as well. So,
True.
Like I said, it could go either way.
I've watched enough Law and Order SVU to know that things often escalate. So,
but like I said, unfortunately none of the prints were able from the car that they had previously, and then the palm prints. None of them were the same prints, so they couldn't really analyze them to see if they were from the same person. So they weren't useful because they didn't have the same finger. You know what I mean? Like
so they weren't the same.
They weren't the same prints, so they couldn't.
I thought you were saying they were different, so they're like,
no,
we can't identify the same person, but we know it's the same person.
No,
so
it was like they had a lot of palm prints in blood at this place, and they only had like fingertip prints at the other one, and so it was just not enough.
It sounds like there's a lot of assumption happening here. Because this doesn't sound like... You're right, it could be escalation, but it doesn't sound like the same person.
No.
As we go, but
like I said, they couldn't rule out the fact that it was not the same person. Yeah. They also didn't have anything that said that it definitely was. So, like I said, that's the one that a lot of people debate whether it was even... related or not.
Yeah.
And then there was another body that was found that a lot of people don't think was related, but other people do. So on May the 7th of 1946, just a few days after that the couple attack, there was a body found on the railroad track 16 miles outside of Texarkana, and people initially thought that it was just like an accident or maybe even like a suicide, but they did an autopsy and he had been dead before the train cut his arm and leg off. So
fucking shit, Leah.
Yeah.
Like, good God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he had probably been placed on that train after he died, and his name
train
was
track.
His name was Earl Cliff McSpadden.
Sounds like a fake name.
Yeah, and some people thought that he might have been the one that was the murderer, and he just couldn't live with himself, so he killed himself and laid down on a train or something like that, or a train track. Other people just think that it was some other random.
Well, no, if he was dead before.
Yeah,
if he was dead before.
But I mean, he could have killed himself on the train tracks, and then the train came by later.
Take some pills or something?
Yeah. But he was dead before the train hit him.
Right.
Which is, So like I said, a lot of people don't even think that that's in any way sort of related, but it's a possibility. Let's see, was another murder in October of 1946 that was pretty close to what happened. That was very similar to what happened in Texarkana, but that happened in Florida, in Dania Beach. I'm not sure how you say that, Dania, but that beach in Florida. Same MO as the Texarkana killer. It was a 23 and 24-year-old couple. Both died from a .32 caliber revolver, shot on a lover's lane. Similar, like just almost identical to the MO of that Texarkana killer. But like I said, it happened in Florida. So that was another weird kind of situation that nobody really... it was weird. So it may or may not be connected. And then there's a last body that is occasionally connected, but I don't personally think this one had anything to do with it. Virginia Carpenter was 23. She was moving from Texarkana to the Texas State College for Women in Denton, Texas. She ends up being dropped off in a cab, and she's like never seen again. And like I said, that just doesn't have any kind of connection to that, but people kind of associate her with it because it was in the same time period. She was from Texarkana, and she actually knew some of the victims that were initially killed by the Phantom Killer. So, like I said, people like to group her in that story, but I don't really think she has anything to do with it. I think that's a separate story entirely.
There's so much wrong with this story.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit going down in Texarkana in that area, so it's weird.
Yeah, it seems like they just had A mental health problem, Leah,
I don't know.
that they're attributing to one bad apple.
I don't think so.
Right.
I think this really was like a spree killer of some sort.
Maybe. Just saying, a lot of things are different.
Yeah. So they end up arresting this guy
Which,
named...
again, I've watched a lot of Law and Order, so if I was ever going to be a serial of some sort, I would change things up quite a bit. You can't have them tracing you. You gotta be doing shit different. Like,
Cool. I'm glad you've gotten that.
you gotta know that you can't be habitual. You have to change things up if you're gonna kill people. That's the lesson.
Wow. What
Southern
a lesson.
Spirits podcast approved.
What a lesson. Anyway, we're very far into this, and I want to get through the
We're so
next
close.
couple
We're
pages.
so
There was a guy that was arrested. His name was Yule Swinney. So they tracked down a car that was stolen at the Virgil Stark's house. So the couple that died, they're all couples, but the couple in the house, the older couple, they were that guy's car had been stolen out of the parking lot. And so they found the car and they waited and tried to see who came back to the car, because they were like, okay, this is definitely going to be our killer, whoever comes back to this car, because they stole this victim's car. Because the perpetrator had a history of stealing these cars or moving these cars and that kind of stuff. So they're like, okay, we're going to see who comes back to this car. We're going to arrest him. It was a lady that comes back to the car named Peggy Swinney. And she's like, whoa, guys, this isn't me. Wasn't me. My husband is the one who owns this car.
Yeah.
He's like out of town, but like, I don't know what you want from me.
It was her.
I don't know. But when they
conniving bitch.
they end up tracking her husband Yule Swinney down, and
Yule Swinney?
Yule Swinney.
Yule.
Yeah.
Y'all remember when Yule used to be a name?
Anyway, so Yule shows up and he's like, all right, yeah, I stole this car, but like I didn't kill anybody. But
he admitted to stealing the car.
Yeah, he definitely, but he was a habitual car stealer. He was actually out of town to sell a stolen car. Like that was kind of his thing.
And the wife didn't know a thing about it, right?
He had a lot of charges for car theft, burglary, assault, and counterfeiting. So like he wasn't exactly on the up and up.
Yeah, but she didn't know a thing.
Yeah, and
for legal purposes.
Yeah, and Peggy, when they investigated the Swinney's house, they also found a garment in Peggy's closet that had the name Stark stenciled in it. Like, you know how people used to send their clothes off for laundry services and they put name tags and stuff in it?
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
Stark was the last name of the people the car that he stole, those people that died.
Oh.
So they're thinking, oh, maybe, he took it as a souvenir kind of thing. And anyway, and while they were questioning Peggy, she did confess saying, oh yeah, my husband's the Phantom Killer, just FYI. But then she recants, and then she says that, yeah, he did it. And then she recants again. And then she says, yeah, he did it. And then she recants. So she was a completely unreliable witness, and they really can't pin it on him.
Yeah. My only thing with that is, why would she know he killed a bunch of people?
I don't know, man.
I mean, again, another thing that I learned from Law and Order is don't tell people that you're killing everybody.
Yeah.
First of all, don't have an MO.
Yeah.
Don't settle into a routine. And secondly, don't fucking talk to anybody. Don't have friends. That's on you.
Yeah, so they do end up printing Yule Swinney, and none of his prints match any of the prints that they found at any of the crime scenes. So eventually they're like, we don't think this is the actual guy, and he gets off for it. But eventually he does end up getting a life sentence for being a habitual offender. And
like the 3 strikes thing?
And his conviction ends up being overturned on appeal in 1973, but he still stole lots of shit, and he ended up back in jail, and he died in jail, serving out sentences in 1994 for theft and counterfeiting. So like
94?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Not a great dude altogether, but probably not the Phantom Killer, just a guess. And then the other pretty well-known sort of suspect, someone that said that they did it but probably didn't, was the one that we covered in that Tailgate Tale, the Arkansas one. His name was H.B. Tennyson, and I've gone over that story on that. So if you're interested in that portion of the story, head back into our archive and listen to that. But
If you haven't listened to it, fuck you.
No. Basically, he was just a college student that was really stressed out, not doing great in classes. He commits suicide by swallowing cyanide and leaves a note that says that he was responsible for all the Texarkana Moonlight murders. But all of his friends that were with him when most of those murders happened say, nah, dude just was depressed and had issues. Like, it wasn't
He wanted
him.
to be remembered for something.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what happened. He was depressed, and he went, this is my only thing that's going to make people remember me.
Correct. And so basically they pretty quickly, they checked his prints against the prints. They did not match the ballistics that he had, like the weapons that he had available to him were not the .32 caliber revolver. Like, it was pretty clear that it wasn't him, but he confessed to it. So that was the thing. But yeah, they never figured out who did it. And they ended up making a movie about it called The Town That Dreaded Sundown. And they still show that movie on the lawn every year in like a community festival.
At the University of Arkansas?
No, in Texarkana.
Oh, Texarkana. Okay.
So that's the thing. Anyway, so that was the story. Most of that information came from the Encyclopedia of Arkansas, TexasMonthly.com, and UnsolvedCasebook.com, which is a new website that I found that I'm really enjoying. It's just a blog that they do lots of research about unsolved cases, and I highly recommend, if you're into that kind of thing, UnsolvedCasebook.com. I enjoyed my read over there. I'd say go look at it if you're a true crimey kind of person.
Well, y'all go do that.
Yeah.
I'll be completely honest here, Leah. I am a little inebriated.
Yes.
And I need to pee very badly.
Okay, so how about
do the
I toast
Yeah.
and then let's get you out of here.
Do the toast.
All right. Everybody hoist your goblet high into the sky.
Yeah.
We're toasting. All right. Don't stick your head through a banister railing. You'll end up a ghost just a weeping and a wailing. The phantom never faced his No, let's try that again.
Okay.
The phantom never faced his victims by the light of day. Stay out of Lover's Lane where the phantom stalks his prey. Okay.
Drink.
Yay.
Yay.
All right. Well, are you ready to outro us so you can go pee?
Yeah, I got to pee real bad.
Okay.
Y'all, I want to thank you so much for listening. And you should follow us on all of your social media platforms. Just search for us. You'll find us. We're around somewhere, right?
Yes.
There you go. Send us an email, southernspiritspodcast@gmail.com. Join the Patreon, patreon.com/Southern Spirits Podcast. Send us a postcard or anything else fun to P.O. Box 1743, Hartselle, Alabama, 35640. Did I forget anything?
Nope.
Are you sure?
Maybe.
All right. Well, we will see y'all next time.
Bye, y'all.